Good morning, everyone. My name is Robert T. Green. I'm the CEO of Pre-Post Game, also known as a pleasure to educate and empower and protect the athletes and their families' best interests alone. Welcome to another edition of Where We Are in the Sports Business Today, presented by the Players Rep, Robert T. Green. I am your host, and we're going to be talking about a couple of things today that reoccur, and obviously under the mantra sports trafficking is real and is currently just being reaffirmed by the actual settlement from the USA Olympic Committee for the amount of $380 million that settled with the victims of Dr. Larry Nassar. For those who don't know, he was a doctor employed by the USA Gymnasts and Paralympic Committee, as well as worked at Michigan State University for approximately 20 plus years, where women at the time, actually children, gymnasts, collegiate athletes, student athletes, whatever mantra, whatever tag you want to give them, were being sexually, emotionally, and physically molested by this man and protected by the powers that be, the institutions. And today, after 5 years in court, a settlement was settled for $380 million. Point is in that sad, tragic, avoidable, and in a sense, the reality is in my business, my line of work, who I specifically am, unacceptable. Again, for those that are out there watching and hear the sound of my voice, we do these videos, and I do these videos specifically not because I'm not aware it's breaking news to me. It's because I've been an advocate, I've been a voice, I've been a supporter, I've been a protector, been an educator about these things under these institutions going on 15 years in sports and outside of sports. That's my background as a Players Rep at Robert T. Green. But specifically where you have people that literally have came out and spoke and say, help me, this is going on. Only have the same people that ask them to trust the process, look the other way, cover it up, dismiss them, berate them, bully them, all different areas. So when you see a $380 million settlement pertaining to what happened to this specific case of women and gymnasts, what type of situation you think has happened in the last 100 years pertaining to racism, bullying, rape, just lies when it comes to grades, all types of things. And at the end of the day, if you think that this is only the tip of the iceberg, so I should say. In a lot of cases, obviously, if people don't remember, I represent the group of athletes in Iowa that is currently in federal court that the powers that be, the media at large, the worldwide leader, gives little to no credence to when you have a university such as Iowa who admitted, paid by their own attorneys, that you basically conducted yourself in disparaging minorities, in racism and bullying. When you basically allow those same people in that same regime to continue to do such and go on and continue to make money and bonuses off the backs of those same African-American students without basically doing anything to right the wrongs of what they've done to the previous ones, it is not the institutions that I hold accountable at this point. It is the parents, it is the actual student athletes who do not understand that you think you're different than what happened to your predecessors. I'm here to tell you, you're not only different, but by allowing yourself to go back to the same process that where it started, it's only going to repeat itself. It's a story when we were young, it's called A Little Boy That Cried Wolf. And essentially, if you allow someone that you know that's going to do you wrong by you, and you go back to it anyway, the next time you say you've done wrong, no one's going to believe you, no one's going to hear you, no one's going to support you. And that's unfortunate, but you need to trust the facts and not the process. Specifically in these situations, guys like Urban Meyer, as you see right now, one of the reasons why Urban Meyer is struggling, and I said it publicly, and I'll say it again, he has no business being in this business. He had no business being in this business in basically in the collegiate level. For those that made Urban Meyer seem like this awesome, powerful, wonderful coach, like I said before, he won a national championship with a 27-year-old man who told you he didn't come there to play school in Cardell Jones. What about he develop him to the NFL? Cardell Jones is not in the NFL. What about his all-time leading passer in the Big Ten, JT Barrett? JT Barrett is out the NFL within 2 years. Well, what about Tim Tebow? Oh, the Tim Tebow that he brought back to go play in Jacksonville as a tight end after being out the NFL 10 years. Or what about the coaches that he brings around? What about the development? Oh, you mean like the guy named Zach Smith, who's now running around on Twitter, harassing, being a troll that he is, but literally has a title called coach? These people should not be anywhere near any athlete, much less African Americans, where they've made enormous generational wealth by dismantling the character, by perpetuating nonsense, by bullying, degrading. If you didn't know Urban Meyer's history, go look up the Valentine's Day Massacre in Florida, when he basically had athletes in their legs being exploded, quads exploded. Yeah, parents, what happened to you? Yeah, coaches, you about to be tough. Miss me with that. I don't mind you guys telling this story to you. I was a guy that was an abused child growing up. I was a guy that was homeless in college. I was also a player that played where at the end of the day, my skill set, being what it was the best on the field at what I do. We had a new coach come into our fold that was previously there, and he wanted to make an example. We're disciplining young men, bunch of JUCO, highly rated guys, all Division I bound specifically. I'm a $180 soaking wet. I'm standing there with him, and people don't know about football huddles back then. They don't do it now. It's kind of mother huddle, but going back then, we used to line up in a huddle, and the two DBs, the corners in particular, would line up on the outsides and the back row of the actual huddle. So this man just got back to this university or to this college in particular. And essentially he wanted to now insert his dominance over 11 men he never met before, to make us fear him and believe that without him, he's going to take our futures away. This is how this man came back into the fold. He hasn't even actually introduced himself, sat down and met with any of us. So one day in practice, again, I said at the beginning, I was an abused child. The man came in, started yelling for no reason. I'm not saying anything, by the way. If you don't know my history about a player, one, I've never been late. I've never missed a meeting. I've been a captain in most places I've ever been, as a collegiate athlete, as a pro athlete, as a high school athlete. As a matter of fact, when it came to running or working out, I was always first, no matter where I went, and anybody knows that. I've never been outworked on the field, and as you see, you got to know me as a player. You're never going to outwork me off the field. So back to the story. So the man is one yelling and screaming, but me being the smallest guy, he decides as he's yelling and screaming, looking at everybody, to pull my face mask. It took about 1.5 seconds. But after that, since I choked the out of that man. I didn't put my hands on him. I said nothing to him. I done nothing wrong to him. He felt like that because of his title of coach, he can physically and verbally abuse me to try to make me feel like without him, I have no value. I have no self-worth. Well, let me tell you how much self-worth and value I have. After he pulled my face mask and I choked him, it took about 10 guys that were all bigger than me to get me off of him. That game, I was on a Tuesday, I believe. The game was on Saturday. Guess what? Not only did I play that game, I believe I was the best player on the defense that day. But why did I play? Why wasn't I disciplined? For one, I did nothing wrong to that man. Two, I was the best one out there. And three, I and the other 11 guys are the reason why he was getting a check next Tuesday. Trust the facts, not the process. So it leads me to my point about Mike Leach talking about the players skipping bowl games and who owe who what and why. Mike Leach in Mississippi, a lot of uneducated, unsophisticated garbage comes out your mouth all the time because where you live at, obviously it makes it okay for you to do so, apparently. But let me say this to you. If those athletes right now today, bowl game, regular season, scrimmage, decide they're not going to play a game for whatever reason, you step out of bounds, you say something, you do something, guess what's going to happen tomorrow? You're going to get fired. And guess what Mississippi State's going to do the next game? Play the game without you. Guess what? University of Alabama. Guess what? Ohio State. Guess what? Jacksonville. When Urban Meyer gets fired, guess what? Jacksonville will continue to play because who is needed is the actual player. Who is wanted is the actual player. Who you cannot live without in this business is the actual player. The NFL draft is coming up in May. If every player that opted out for a bowl game did not basically take the payday loan, agency fees that they do not understand, didn't sign with anybody, do you believe $1 trillion industry like the NFL is going to stop doing business because no player decided to be represented by anybody that they just met 10 minutes ago? If you believe that, you've probably been a victim of sports trafficking, you will continue to do so for the rest of your professional life in sports. Just the facts, not the process. Bottom line in this sports is not a game, sports is all business. And you are an athlete or a parent to have the ability to understand your true value worth, where you're trying to go. Not understanding these business means you're doomed from the beginning. These people are telling you to trust the process in your living room right now to ask you to sign a national letter of intent, which is a one-way document stipulating as if that coach, knowing he's taking a job somewhere tomorrow, whether it's Mario Cristobal, whether it's Brian Kelly, who's now faking access to LSU, or whoever. By the time that ink dries and you finish saying it's God's plan, that coach took a job elsewhere, and then that new coach comes in and tells you to your face, you're not that guy, and he's taking away, or girl, and taking away your scholarship. You're gonna cry boo-hoo because you was not educated, you was not informed, you was not protected in the business or the industry that you desire to be in. No longer blame the industry for your transgressions if you don't look to find or get with someone or hire someone such as ourselves at Pre-Post Game to educate and empower, protect your best interests alone. My name is Robert T. Green, the CEO of Pre-Post Game, to educate, empower, protect. Sports trafficking is real. Don't let it be you. God bless.